Jay Scott, good evening. Hope you are well on this Memorial Day. We are getting set to begin recording here, so bear with me as we get going. Okay, here we go. And welcome in, everybody, to the Last Row Podcast, a fan's perspective on sports. It's Brian here inside the ARM Media Solutions Studios on this Monday, Memorial Day, May the 25th. Hope you are well. Hope you are happy. Hope you have enjoyed a great Memorial Day weekend with those around you, and everybody's happy, healthy, and safe. So, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you check us out on our social media platforms. You can do so on X or Twitter at Last Row Podcast. Make sure you follow us there. Make sure you continue to follow us there, as well as on TikTok and TikTok Live. Of course, if you are there on TikTok, you can check us out at last.row.podcast. Make sure you do so as well. All right. Big thanks to our friends over at I Know a Guy Remodeling. We will continue to hear from them here in just a little bit. Also, a big thanks to our friends over at Forever Finds, as National Thrift Day is coming up. So make sure that you are aware of that as well. Big thanks to them for their continued support of the show. And of course, a big thanks to our friends over at ARM Media Solutions, our parent company. We do appreciate each and every one of them for their continued support of our show. So make sure you're following us on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify. We are live on both of those platforms. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like. That way you know when the latest episode of the Last Row Podcast drops. All right. I don't know if anybody else is having issues here with TikTok tonight, but man, oh man, mine is lagging. Good night. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk. Right now, we have the New York Knicks 12 minutes away from sweeping the Cavs, behind 16 from Shamet, 15 from Brunson, 15 from Towns, 15 from Bridges, 13 from Anunoby. That is what we call a dominating night. That is what we call pure domination. And quite honestly, it's not a shock. Quite honestly, we had a feeling that this was going to happen, right? We just had a feeling right from the start. And I believe that overall, there is a number of different elements here at play. And what I mean by that is different reasons why this series has gone the way that it's gone. And quite honestly, I believe that this series has been just absolutely dominated by the Knicks defensively because, look, they have Game 1 set the tone. Okay? We know that, right? Game 1 completely set the tone, being down 22 points entering the fourth quarter. Now, look, the Knicks have come back from that, in Game 1. Could Cleveland do it here in Game 4? Absolutely. But they've got to do a lot. And they've got to be able to make a run here of epic proportions, because right now it is just not happening. And speaking of not happening, either people aren't on TikTok tonight or there's something funky going on with the lives, because we normally have people in here like crazy. So what we may end up doing here, bear with me a quick moment or two, because there is nobody showing up in the lives. So let's see exactly what is going on here. Let's take a look. All right. We're going to try to push this a little forward here and get things moving. Let's see here. Okay, so the Live Studio Creative Center. Oh, it kicked me off. Well, that's weird. Okay, hang on. I love technical issues. This is great. This is wonderful. This is why. Okay, let's try this here. Now it just told me that it ended. So let's go back and let's end live. And now we'll go live here. Go live. Okay, let's try this again. See if it works. What I will tell you in relation to this game here tonight, it's never been close. This series has never been close. And quite honestly, this series has been determined after game one. When Cleveland allowed a 22-point lead to dissipate in 12 minutes, they completely lost all hope and all confidence. And for the Knicks, that was their telltale sign that, look, we can do this thing. We can absolutely win this thing. And the Knicks right now, winning it in Cleveland is probably the best thing that they could do because of the fact that they are absolutely dominating the Cavs. The Knicks fans have traveled very, very well to Cleveland. And, look, I will say this much. In a closeout game like this, you want your starters to play really, really well. Mike Brown has gone with a shortened bench tonight. And the reason for that is because he wants his closers out there, right? He wants the guys that he started with, which makes sense. It absolutely makes a ton of sense to do that. And guess what? You can do it in a closeout game because you've allowed your team to get rest. And quite honestly, and we've talked about it for, this entire series, Kenny Atkinson, the head coach for the Cavs, has not done enough with his bench to ensure that his starters get enough rest. I mean, looking here tonight, you've got 6 points from Jarrett Allen. You've got 15 from Mobley, 12 from Harden, 29 from Donovan Mitchell. Look, you can't deny Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is doing everything he humanly and possibly can to win this series and win each game. And he's not able to do anything because of the fact that he doesn't have any help. I'm sorry, James Harden is not helping him. Jarrett Allen is not helping him. And if anybody on TikTok, by the way, can tell me if their system is glitching or if it's just on my end, I would appreciate it. RC95, good evening. Cody, good evening. Wyatt, good evening. Bronny, good evening. Oscar, good evening. Welcome into the show. I will tell you, Donovan Mitchell has done everything right that you can ask of a guy in this series. He has zero help. You put him on a team like San Antonio, then that's a problem. But you put him on an island with James Harden and not a true big in Jarrett Allen, and you get nothing. And you're going to get a frustrated superstar. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. Donovan Mitchell is doing everything he can. He's got 31 points in 31 minutes. He's 9 of 18 from the field, 5 of 9 from three-point line. The score now is 109, or will be 109-76, New York. The Knicks have a 33-point lead. Yeah, ouch, exactly. And you look at what the difference is in the game. You've got 18 turnovers from Cleveland to 11 for the Knicks. You've got the Knicks shooting 51%, the Cavs shooting 41%. You've got the Cavs shooting 27% from three-point range, the Knicks shooting 44%. There's another turnover by them. And that is just indicative of what this is showing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Same to you, Christian. What is next for the New York Knicks? What's next for the Knicks is they get some time off. They get some time off. They get to have a little bit of a break. They get to rest up after, no offense to Cleveland, a pretty easy series. Thank you, Cody. Appreciate that. And yeah, you just tell me, man, and I'll be on it for you. Also, if you guys are in here, make sure you share the live. Greatly would appreciate that. Cleveland has not put up much of a fight since game one. They just haven't. And New York, when they took game one in overtime, that was all she wrote. That was the series right there. Cleveland knew they had no shot. You know what? The way that series has gone, Christian, and that's a great question. Are the Knicks going to give a good fight to the Thunder, hypothetically, if it is the Thunder? I don't think anybody from the East would give the Thunder a good matchup. I just don't. Now, the one thing I will say is you're finding out about Oklahoma City is they are vulnerable inside with Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren doesn't like to play inside. Hartenstein does, but Holmgren doesn't. So, for Holmgren, you could put, OG Anunoby on him, Josh Hart, something like that, and that would be a more apt matchup. Offensively, though, for the Knicks, you want Karl Anthony Towns to beat him up inside. But I don't think Brunson matches up well with SGA. I don't think anybody matches up well with Oklahoma City besides the Spurs. So, who is in the SGA through Brunson? I'm not following, Christian. Sorry. Well, I mean, Brunson's your point. Brunson's your point, just like SGA. So with that, and with SGA being as good as he is, there's a huge mismatch there too. By the way, height wise, and that's going to be exploited by Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is going to try to maneuver their size and use their size to their advantage. Now, look, OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, they match up very well against Oklahoma City's Big Three, excuse me. But, I mean, Mikal Bridges might be a better defensive matchup for SGA. But again, I think SGA's speed is what is going to be a massive problem for the Knicks. Now, I could be talking out of my behind at this point because realistically, anybody can beat anybody on any given night, right? So if the Knicks go out and they blow a 22-point lead, let's just say hypothetically in game one, people are going to say, oh, that's it. And it very well may be it. But I will say this much. The Knicks defensively are a very good team. But I don't know if they are as good as San Antonio is. I don't know if anybody can go toe-to-toe with the Thunder other than San Antonio. And that's why I think that this series for San Antonio and the OKC Thunder, that's why I feel like that's the NBA Finals right there. That's the best series. And I feel like both of these teams, whether it's Oklahoma City or San Antonio, are going to be difficult for the Knicks. I think they'd be difficult for the Pacers with Tyrese Halliburton. I don't think it matters necessarily. You know what I mean, Christian? I think Halliburton has a size advantage, which is good, but I don't think overall defensively they match up very well. the Knicks fans are standing and applauding. They have taken over the Rocket Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. And that is crazy to see. The Cavs fans, I don't believe Cleveland fans expected to get swept. But Cleveland is not doing themselves any favors whatsoever. And Kenny Atkinson isn't doing it either because of the fact that he has and we're going to talk about this right now because this is the fact as far as I'm concerned that what has made the difference in this series. And what has made the difference in this series to me is the fact that Kenny Atkinson did not use his bench. Kenny Atkinson did not utilize his entire playoff roster. And the reason for that, I don't know. But I will tell you this. It cost him this series. It's going to cost him his job. And it may cost him Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell may request to be traded. I wouldn't be shocked because Donovan Mitchell should request to be traded. And there you see Leon Rose, the Knicks president, who's in attendance tonight in Cleveland. I'm curious what the new owner of the Cavs is thinking. Reagan, good evening. Yeah, I think a lot of people were bullish on Cleveland. I think a lot of people thought it was going to be the Cavs were going to, oh my God, there's another turnover. Now, see, that just comes from not playing. I mean, that type of turnover comes from not playing in the game. And I believe that overall, you've got a lot of issues here that are stemming from these guys not playing. And again, that's on Atkinson. Yeah, I don't think, though, Cleveland's going to trade him within the conference. They're not that stupid. And I'm going to tell you this right here and now. This is a brilliant move by Mike Brown. Brilliant move. Get your starters the hell out of the game. That way there's no issues whatsoever. If one of your bench guys goes down, I mean, obviously that's a big deal, okay? But you don't, I mean, it's not as big of a loss as if you lose Jalen Brunson, right? So Mike Brown is doing the smart thing. He's getting his bench guys some playoff experience. There's another turnover by Cleveland. That's got to be over 20, I think, on the night. And Cleveland is just, I mean, they are self-destructing here. And I just believe that overall, New York is just a much better squad. Yeah, 21 turnovers. 21 turnovers for Cleveland to New York's 11. That is absurd in a Game 4 in the playoffs. That's been the difference of this series, has been the turnovers and the fact that Kenny Atkinson didn't use his bench. Look, Donovan Mitchell has done everything possible. He's got 31 points in 32 minutes. James Harden, 12 points in 33 minutes. Jarrett Allen, 6 points in 26 minutes. Mobley's had 15. Strus has had 5. Dean Wade, who didn't start tonight. And that's been a little bit of a difference here, is that Dean Wade didn't start, but Tomlin's been in, Bryant's been in, Merrill's been in, Tyson's been in, and Porter Jr.'s been in. Proctor. Atkinson has used more of his bench now than he has all season. And that's horrible. And Reagan, I agree. They gave up at halftime. And TikToker, I agree. I don't even think Harden is valuable at the free throw stripe anymore. I think Harden is just a salary guy at this point. And quite honestly, that is going to be looked at in the offseason. Why the hell is James Harden on this team anymore? And look, I have no dog in this fight, as you guys know. If you've listened to the show, you understand I don't care who wins this game. I don't care who wins this series. Doesn't matter to me. I don't really care who wins the NBA title. but they've got the highest active payroll in the NBA, and they've got James Harden, who's got a player option, Dean Wade and Larry Nance Jr., that are free agents. But the highest active payroll, and you get swept. And you have turnover issues. And I'm just going to tell you right here now, Kenny Atkinson's gone. There's no way whatsoever that he saves his job. None. And quite honestly, the Knicks reserves are running better offensively than what Cleveland is. And I mean, they're passing the ball around. They're making extra passes. I mean, it's insane to watch. And again, Cleveland's bench just looks discombobulated. And that's from a lack of playing. Now, if you're the Knicks, you're going to sit back here over the next few days, and you're going to wait, and you're just going to rest. And yeah, you might do a light walkthrough and things like that tomorrow, so on and so forth. But, there's Spike. Spike Lee is at the game. Spike Lee is at the game. But again, Cleveland just has nothing. I mean, other than Donovan Mitchell, and I feel bad for Donovan Mitchell. I truly do. Donovan Mitchell has been nothing but a pro in this entire thing. And again, with anybody else, I think they would take this as a learning experience. I believe that Donovan Mitchell is going to be gone. I think Mitchell's going to want out, and I don't blame him one bit. I do not blame him one bit. And I think James Harden needs to go. I think you're going to see a teardown of this organization. I don't even think LeBron James would want to come back here right now. And even if Mitchell stayed and Harden left, I don't think LeBron wants there. There's no way LeBron does. I mean, what good is LeBron James going to do? He's no different right now than James Harden, except he could probably hit his free throws. It's a salary grab. That's what Harden's after here. So again, Cleveland has been completely dismantled. LeBron James is going to bring them a ring. Yeah, so they can look at it, TikToker, and go, oh, that's what a championship ring looks like. Yeah, that's exactly what LeBron will do. He'll show it to him as he's passing through the office. LeBron James is not going to re-sign in Cleveland. I'm sorry. Especially if they dismantle this team. If they dismantle this team, there's if LeBron signs there, I mean, you're wild if you're not taking current Bron versus Harden. Oh, I would take LeBron right now versus Harden. Hear me when I say that. But LeBron isn't going to. LeBron at this stage of his career, yes, he can still give you 20 points a night. There's no question. But at this stage of his career, at least in his current role with the Lakers, he's more apt about getting guys involved and more apt about giving assists rather than having the spotlight on him, if that makes sense. LeBron is more about getting guys the ball. Oh, I agree, Reagan. I agree. But the fact that Bron wants to, if Bron wants to go and win, it's not in Cleveland. I'm sorry. It's just not. And TikToker, you're exactly right. With Harden on the floor, they are a slow team. And that's what James Harden does to offenses. He slows them down. Harden's not going to run and gun. Harden is going to pound the pavement. There's a clip of a press conference from Mike Brown earlier on, and I thought it was earlier this series, where he was talking about James Harden. And the clip was Mike Brown talking about when he was with the Warriors and they were playing the Rockets, and James Harden, they counted how many times throughout the game or cumulative throughout the game James Harden dribbled, and it was over 1,000 times. And they told their defense, let him dribble. Because when it comes to the fourth quarter later in the series, he's going to be tired. And that's the same defensive mentality that they used here tonight in this series. Makes sense. But Harden wasn't a threat. You could let Donovan Mitchell average 30 points a night. It's all the other role players, the Jarrett Allens, the Evan Mobleys. Those guys, you didn't want them to beat you. So, yeah, Donovan Mitchell, let him get his 30 points. That's fine. Donovan Mitchell's a hell of a player. But anybody else, James Harden, what's he going to do? He might get you a 20 in a game, but that's it. He's not going to get you anything now. He might have one good game in a series in a 7-game stretch. And that's it. Because in the playoffs, guess what? Defenses play tougher. Defenses play harder. And it becomes harder in the playoffs to replicate, unless if you're Michael Jeffrey Jordan, it becomes difficult to replicate your regular season numbers. And James Harden has never been good in the playoffs. Never. He's never been good. And again, I think that overall, Cleveland's got a lot of soul searching to do. And I don't believe Kenny Atkinson is going to be back. I just don't. There is no chance in hell. I blame D'Antoni for committing 1,000% to Harden's ISO ball. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Mike D'Antoni was a big proponent of it because James Harden could do it. But now the fact is, you've got a guy that feels he's entitled to dribble 1,000 times a game, get paid like $1 million superstar, and not get past the Eastern Finals or the Western Finals. James Harden has made the playoffs every year that he has played in the NBA. How many rings has he won? 0. Because while he might be great in the regular season, again, come playoff time, it's a different type of basketball. It's kind of like the same, the old saying in the NFL or even Major League Baseball. Pitchers, it's going to be, things get tighter in the playoffs, right? Defenses play better in the NFL in the playoffs, right? Especially, if they're in the red zone, so on and so forth. Pitchers are going to throw longer or harder or, utilize more of their stuff that maybe they didn't in the first, half of the season or second half of the season in Major League Baseball. You've got to have your big-time players make big-time plays. James Harden, 0 for 6 from the three-point line, 5 turnovers. He led the Cavs tonight in turnovers again. For the second or third straight game, he led them in turnovers. Donovan Mitchell had 4. Mobley had 3. So right there, you've got 12 of your turnovers committed by your starters again. I mean, you're up to, currently you are up to 22 turnovers. So Mobley with 3, Harden with 5, that's 8, 12, 15, 16 by your starters. 16 turnovers by your starters. Not going to get the job done. And for everybody that says, oh, James Harden's great, James Harden, yeah, blah, blah, blah. No, James Harden sucks. I'm sorry. He might be good in the regular season. He sucks in the playoffs. He's awful. And any team that wants to take a chance on James Harden in the playoffs or on their roster in the regular season, you know what? Have fun. Because, yeah, you might get to the playoffs. You ain't winning a ring. I'm going to tell you that right now. You are not going to win a ring. 10 seconds to go. The Knicks are going to the NBA Finals. "27 years. Mike Breen, who's on the call for ESPN, a lot of people said that's not a good idea to have Mike Breen do the game because of the fact that he is the Knicks' full-time regular season announcer, play-by-play guy. So lots of people said that. I thought he did a very nice job of keeping things neutral. Spike Lee and Donovan Mitchell just shared a moment. But the Knicks are going to the finals. And who will they play? We'll have to wait and see. And we're going to dissect that series and last night's game where we talked in Game 4 where Victor Wembanyama had to be big. And oh boy, was he big. We'll talk about that and more coming up right after this when we hear from our friends over at I Know a Guy Remodeling. Right here on the Last Row Podcast. All right, let me ask you a question. When your favorite team is struggling, what's the first thing that fans say? Something's got to change. Manager's got to be fired. Coach's got to be fired. General manager's got to be fired. Something's got to change. Trade this guy. Get rid of that guy. Sign this guy. Well, if you've been walking through your home and thinking the same thing every time you see that old bathroom or that outdated kitchen or that unfinished space, maybe this is your sign. Our friends at I Know a Guy Remodeling can help turn your home from a rebuild mode into a contender. From kitchens to bathrooms and flooring, drywall and renovations projects, big or small, landscaping. They do quality work and actually care about making sure it's done right the first time. And as someone who values people you can trust, that matters. So if you're ready to stop talking about it and finally make the move, contact I Know a Guy Remodeling and tell them the Last Row Podcast sent you. Because championship teams and championship homes are built the right way. You can catch a link to their Facebook page on our website, www.lastrowpodcast.com. Because everybody deserves to know a guy. And now you do. I Know a Guy Remodeling. All right, welcome back to the Last Row Podcast. Let's run through the box score here real quick of the game between the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. New York wins 130-93. Following these efforts by the following Knicks, OG Anunoby, 17 points from the field, 6 of 13. Karl Anthony Towns with 19 in 26 minutes. He also had 14 rebounds. Josh Hart, 6 points in 24 minutes. Mikal Bridges, 15 points in 30 minutes. Jalen Brunson, 15 points in 31 minutes. The bench played a big role. Shamet with 16. McBride with 11. Kolek with 8. Clarkson with 3. Robinson with 8. And he had 10 rebounds as well. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, led by Donovan Mitchell, who had 31 points in 32 minutes. Jarrett Allen, 6 points in 26 minutes. Evan Mobley, 15 points, 33 minutes. James Harden, big game James, right? 12 points in 33 minutes. 0 of 6 from the three-point line, 5 turnovers. Strus, 5 points in 22 minutes. Bryant was off the bench and had a nice night with 10 points in 9 minutes. The New York Knicks sweep, and they advance for the first time to the NBA Finals in 27 years. Let's go ahead and let's talk about last night's game between the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I will tell you this right here and now. We talked last night, 2 nights ago, on Friday, about the Spurs needing a huge game from Victor Wembanyama. And they got it last night. They got the game that they needed last night from Wemby. And Wembanyama was absolutely brilliant in that game. Wembanyama and the Spurs did everything they needed to do to make sure this series now is tied at 2, and that's exactly what it is. And now it's a best of 3. So let's look at the box scores here. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, 12 points from Hartenstein, 10 points from Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren has to play better for Oklahoma City to win. SGA with 19 points in 31 minutes. He was 6 of 15 from the field. Dort with only 2 points. Wallace with 5. Jalen Williams with 3. Caruso last night, 0 points in 14 minutes. 10 points for Williams, 11 for Joe, 4 for Wiggins, 4 for McCann, and 2 for Topic. Yeah, the flopping wasn't working last night. There's no question. The fact that it was in San Antonio, I think, helps. The fact that Scott Foster, who, if you are a conspiracy theorist in the NBA, will say that Scott Foster's brought in to extend series. There's no definitive analytics on that. But I will say this. It worked. Because Oklahoma City did not have a good night. For the Spurs, Wembanyama, 33 points in 33 minutes, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He did have 4 turnovers. De'Aaron Fox with 12 points in 31 minutes, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Vassell, 13 points in 33 minutes, 6 rebounds. Castle, 13 points in 30 minutes. Look, when Wemby has a night like that, when everything's going right for the 7'5" Frenchman, it's hard for them. It's hard for anybody to beat him. Looking at the bench, Harrison Barnes with 5 points, Kelly Olynyk with 3, Johnson with 6, Cornette with 6, Harper with 7. You saw last night the Spurs utilize their bench. You saw Oklahoma City utilize their bench. Big difference in those two teams versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. So look, let's talk about this game last night. You just had a feeling that Wemby was going to have a night. You know what, TikToker? I agree with you. I'm not sure necessarily leadership-wise, but player-wise, he is absolutely, without question, he's dominant when he wants to be. Now, that's the key phrase, when he wants to be. I think he has some maturing issues to go or to do, but the Spurs defensively, and credit Sean Sweeney, the assistant coach that's in high demand, for holding Oklahoma City to their second lowest postseason total, beating the Thunder 103-82. Vassell said after the game, you definitely don't want to go down 3-1 going into their house. We knew we had to respond. That's how you respond. You get stops. You don't try and focus on the offensive end. You get stops. You get out of transition. You guard your yard, and that's what we did. Game 5 is Tuesday in Oklahoma City, followed by Game 6 on Thursday in San Antonio. Wembanyama was dominant. He said, quote, "We all have high standards, and I know I have a lot of responsibilities, but I'm here for it." According to reports, Greg Popovich went into the locker room after Game 3 and expressed his frustration and expressed his anger towards how they played. Now, for Greg Popovich, a Hall of Famer, a multiple NBA champion, he's won it as a coach. When he talks, you better listen. And Wemby took it to heart. Wemby took it to heart. And I guarantee you that talk from Popovich started because of the defensive effort or lack thereof. And again, without question, the San Antonio Spurs are a different team when they are locked in defensively, and Victor Wembanyama is as dominant as he was or is. That's not bad. I am trying the Poppy Doc Pop. That's not bad. All right. They show Spike Lee down on the ground filming as Lisa Salters interviews all these players. And you know, I have to tell you, I feel very happy for Spike Lee, but I also feel really bad for him because he's going to get his heart broken again. Because I'm sorry, the Knicks are not winning the NBA title. They're just not. And for Knicks fans, just please, for everything that is good and decent in this world, please recognize the fact that you're not winning the NBA title. You're just not. I'm sorry. And yeah, I mean, I think 5 or 6 is being nice, TikToker. I mean, there's a very good chance with how good Oklahoma City or San Antonio are. There's a really good chance the Knicks might get swept. And I don't like saying that because I really like Jalen Brunson. But I just think that overall, you're a dead man walking at this point. And I hate saying that. I hate being a Debbie Downer in that regard. But realistically here, I just don't see it happening. I just don't. And because of that, I think that, and how good Oklahoma City and San Antonio both respectively are, New York is going to have to be locked in from the jump on game 1. And if they're not, they're going to get run out of the building. Either way, whether it's by Wemby, whether it's by SGA, I don't think it matters. Because I think both of these teams, both of these Western Conference teams will absolutely go crazy on them. Oklahoma City has to come back. And they have to reestablish themselves as the dominant force that they can be. If San Antonio somehow wins Game 5 in Oklahoma City, that's a big problem for OKC. If Mark Daigneault does not have that team ready to go, and I think he will, but if Mark Daigneault does not have that team ready, you've got another team that's waiting to pounce in San Antonio. And I don't know if Greg Popovich woke up the monster in Wembanyama. I don't know if Popovich woke up Sean Sweeney. But I will say this much. San Antonio, when they are locked in, is a much different team. San Antonio, I felt, could give and would give the greatest challenge to Oklahoma City. I still feel that way. And again, I'm telling you right here and now, if San Antonio wins Game 5, the series is over. I'm going to call it right here and now. I said originally Oklahoma City in 7. I stay with that, and I'm going to maintain that, but I'm going to say this right here and now. If San Antonio wins Game 5 in Oklahoma City, then you have to go back to San Antonio. That's a huge problem. Because then you're going to have Wemby at home, all the momentum, and, I will say this too. Greg Popovich may still be leading some of those meetings, if you catch my drift. The Pop effect is real. And I think that overall, if San Antonio wins in Game 5, it's going to be incredibly difficult for Oklahoma City to go back to San Antonio and win. Rafiki says the only way the Thunder can win is if the refs favor them. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think that if Oklahoma City locks in defensively, then there's a really good chance of a really good Game 5. And I hope that's the case. I want a really good Game 5. I'm hopeful that Game 5 tomorrow night will be as good as advertised. And I think we've seen a much more, and I'll say this, and if I catch heat for it, that's fine from Knicks fans, that's fine. But I don't think they disagree with me in this instance. I think we've seen more competitive games out of the Western Conference finals than we saw out of the East finals. And that's not a knock against New York. New York was just a better team than Cleveland, top to bottom. And again, no disrespect, that series is a much better series to watch than the Knicks routing the Cavs every night, other than Game 1. This was just a mismatch of epic proportions, and the fact that the Cavs had a 22-point lead and they choked it away, that's why I think you're going to see Kenny Atkinson gone. Like, maybe late tonight or tomorrow. I don't think it's going to take much. I mean, they were embarrassed. And losing that 22-point lead as they did, that's the start of it. And I think Rafiki says, I think Detroit would have beat them. I don't. And here's the reason why. Detroit, I think, would have offered a better matchup against the Knicks. But the problem is that you only have Cade Cunningham in Detroit. It's the same situation. Jalen Duran, you don't know what you're going to get. Tobias Harris is an older veteran who can still give you a good game every now and again. But realistically, he doesn't do much. So Cade Cunningham is, again, in the same situation as Donovan Mitchell, except younger. And he has no help in Detroit. None. And that's why I think that Detroit would have struggled against the Knicks. And that's a cold, hard truth. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. I think you're going to see SGA rebound. I think Wemby's still going to be hot, but I think Oklahoma City wins tomorrow night at home. Here's how I think it's going to go: Oklahoma City at home, San Antonio at home, and then a Game 7 to divine everything. And then at that point, I don't know who wins. I mean, the books will say Oklahoma City. They might get a 3.5 point bump or a 2 point bump because they're at home. But I still maintain Thunder by 7. I stay by that. I'm not deviating from that really. But if San Antonio somehow wins Game 5, oh boy, that's a problem. That's a big problem. And for San Antonio, Wemby's got to be big. Wemby's got to be big again. Wemby has to play like that the rest of the series. Let's just call it out. Wemby has to be dominant. And if Wemby's dominant like that, it won't go 7. Oklahoma City does not have an answer for Victor Wembanyama. They did maybe in Game 3, but they sure as hell didn't have an answer in Game 4. And that Game 4 beatdown by San Antonio was all inspired by Greg Popovich. I guarantee it. And he got into their heads and told them, that's not the Spurs way. And the Spurs came out and dominated that game last night. And again, for SGA to have a down night like he did, for them to hold Alex Caruso, who's been phenomenal in every game this series, for them to hold him to 0, it's a huge deal. For Wembanyama to go for 33, that's big. Wemby being like that is huge. Now, again, I think for Oklahoma City, Chet Holmgren has to be an equalizer to Wembanyama. If those two can somehow cancel each other out, or even SGA, if SGA can be that, then in essence, if SGA can be that, then you've got something. Then those two cancel out, and then it's on the rest of the starters and or the bench. And that's where Chet Holmgren has to be big. Because you know damn well you've got Fox, you've got Vassell and Castle that can get hot at any point in time. Rafiki, I don't know about that. I can say this much: he's not nearly as bad as traveling as James Harden is. I will say that much. But again, I think that overall, this series in Oklahoma City and San Antonio is the NBA Finals. It is the NBA Finals. I do too. I think he's scared of picking up cheap fouls. And I think that it's a bad situation. And there's no good way for them to guard Wembanyama. There's just not. And I think Chet Holmgren, the other part of it too, I don't think Chet Holmgren is built big enough to defend Wemby. And we've talked about that. I think you'd have better luck with Hartenstein and doubling versus one-on-one with Chet Holmgren. It just doesn't work that way. And Chet Holmgren doesn't do a good enough job defensively. So, now, the other part of this, and we've talked about it, if Wembanyama all of a sudden starts to develop a post game, If he develops any type of post moves, oh my God, forget it. If he starts developing post moves and maybe adds 5 to 10 pounds of muscle, oh my God, forget it. Then we're looking at Akeem Olajuwon 2.0. Then you're looking at a guy that is going to dominate the West for years to come. Just like Olajuwon did in the mid-90s and late 90s. I mean, let's be honest here. If that happens with Wemby, and let's just say for kicks and giggles here, let's say Wemby dominates tomorrow night, and then they go home. You know damn well Wembanyama is going to be jacked up, and you know when Wembanyama is going to be agitated, frustrated, angry, and play that way, because when he plays that way, he's unstoppable. So Oklahoma City at this point in time, it's an uphill battle. They've got to win 2 of the next 3. Same with San Antonio. They got to win 2 of the next 3. And it's a best of 3 at this point. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens tomorrow night in game number 5. Kenny Atkinson, there is speaking right now to the media. They're showing the graphic on ESPN. 22 Cleveland turnovers led to 34 points for the Knicks. That tells you the game. The other factor in this game tonight, to me, was second chance points. Second chance points played a huge part in this game tonight. And just looking at the rebounding edge here with this game, I want to see here. Let me look at the box score here. Rebounding wise, New York had 60 to 33. That's the difference, ladies and gents. That and the turnover margin. 60 rebounds to 33. Offensive rebounds for Cleveland, 6. Offensive rebounds for New York, 20. That's 20 second chance opportunities. It's not going to get it done in the playoffs. It's not going to get it done. Yeah, they absolutely were. You're right. Reagan, you're exactly right. There was no matching New York's physicality. There was no way of matching it. So we'll have to see exactly. The Knicks are on an 11-game win streak. Anybody that's hit 11 other than the 89 Lakers, so the 89 Lakers, 2000 Lakers, 89 Lakers lost in the NBA Finals. Every other team that's had an 11-game win streak or more has won. Harden fell short, but the Bigs let down Cleveland massively. I think the Bigs let them down. I think coaching let them down too. I mean, let's call it what it is here. Coaching with Kenny Atkinson was not good. He didn't give his starters enough time to rest. My God, playing 30-plus minutes every single night and scoring 30 points a game or 25 a game for Donovan Mitchell when he's the only one doing anything, it's going to make him exhausted. I'm sorry. And the fact that up until tonight, he only used a 4-man rotation on his bench is garbage. You're asking for trouble then. It's a fireable offense, Reagan. It absolutely is. And that's I think, going to be his downfall. Look, Kenny Atkinson's a very good assistant coach. He's a very good assistant coach. Head coach, not so much. And, I mean, they had the highest payroll in the NBA. And you went to a short bench. Why? What good does that do? So the Knicks advance. They go on. Cleveland is flying to Cancun. Kenny Atkinson will be looking for a job. And so now my attention shifts to the NHL because we've got overtime. We've got overtime coming up, and I am frantically scurrying to get to it here. So bear with me. Between the Canadiens and the Carolina Hurricanes in Montreal, 2-2 at the end of the third. So the Habs, the Canadiens, look, I'm going to tell you this. I'm rooting for Montreal. I'm rooting for Montreal simply for the fact it would be nice to see a Canadian team in the Stanley Cup Finals. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But if anybody can give Carolina a run, it's going to be Montreal. And I really like Martin St. Louis. I feel like he is one of the most accountable coaches in the NHL, to be completely honest with you. We've had some really good matchups. I mean, again, Oklahoma City, San Antonio in the NBA, Carolina and Montreal has lived up to its billing. Colorado Vegas has been a joke. Vegas has dominated that series. Vegas is up 3-0 right now in that series. And that game is tomorrow night, game 4. And it's in Vegas. Colorado's very much in danger of being swept. And I wouldn't be shocked. Would not be shocked. Carolina's 4-0 in overtimes. This postseason, Montreal 3-3. It's the 7th overtime game this postseason for the Canadiens, tied for second most in franchise history. It's all about chances at the net. I don't know if anybody is a big hockey fan currently with us in TikTok, but I'm a big hockey guy. I'm a big playoff hockey guy. And I have to tell you this. I'm really liking the Carolina uniforms. Those jerseys are sick. With the black hurricane, I really like that. I'm a diehard Blackhawk fan. And have been since the early 90s. When Jeremy Roenick and Chris Chelios and all those guys, Eddie Belfour, were on the team. So, and the games were never televised in the Chicago area. Yeah, the Canes unis are, I mean, to take a term that the kids are using, fire or slay. Great chance there by Montreal on a breakaway. Good save. He missed it. Montreal keeping the puck in possession, in play, in their end of the zone. Carolina now is on the run. And another turnover. They could have a 3-on-2 here. Montreal could if they hurry. And good job by the Canes getting back. Look, in overtime, it's a matter of putting pucks on the net. You've got to be able to put pucks on the net. Oh, that'd be awesome, Reagan. If they wore the Hartford Whalers in the playoffs. I don't know if they can, though. I know during the season they can, but I don't know about the playoffs, but maybe. That would just be incredible. I miss the Hartford Whalers, just like I miss the Quebec Nordiques. I thought the Nordiques were fantastic. But get the shot on goal, or put pucks. Eddie Olczyk always says if you shoot it towards the net, anything can happen, and that's what Montreal's trying to do right now. They are putting a lot of pressure right now on Carolina. I am loving this right now from the Montreal Canadiens. Good wraparound. Two guys converge. Carolina gets it out. Carolina could have a 3-on-2 here. Puck in front of the net, stopped. Now battle along the boards. And the Canadiens come out with it. All right, that's going to put a bow on this edition of the Last Row Podcast. We're going to stay live on TikTok Live. If you are with us there, stick around. We will be back with you tomorrow night for the Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And until then, tomorrow night, a big thanks to our friends at I Know a Guy Remodeling and Forever Finds Thrift. Big thanks to ARM Media Solutions for their continued support of the show. If you were with us on YouTube Live, thank you so much. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, thank you so very much. And until tomorrow night, I'll see you in the last row.